Are you in the back of your house? I can barely hear you.
I'm not facing the fucking
Jesus
mic.
fucking Christ. 2 weeks. Whole show's shot to shit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wednesday Night Gentlemen, the Multimedia Empire official podcast. This is episode number 14. Are there even any higher numbers than 14? On this show, we talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and everyone's favorite political discourse. I'm your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
I was kind of goading you.
I know. I could tell that you were. And I still held back. You
are a consummate professional.
Aren't I?
Yes.
We're well past the 10 mark. I'm an old pro at this now.
Right? Veteran podcaster, Midget Radio with us today.
Like I've died and come back, and I'm still as amazing as ever.
All right, so the nonsense continues. Midget Radio, you confided with me before we started broadcasting that you were drinking something.
Yeah, I did confide that to you.
And I'm drinking that secret away.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Tullamore Dew today.
I love that.
The Irish. It is pretty good. Kim and I were in Sedona last weekend, and we forgot to bring any scotch with us. And we went to a store, and the Glenlivet and the Macallan was behind like a glass case. So it's like you have to go fucking get somebody. So
you'd have to talk to somebody.
Exactly. Fuck that. So we went with the Tullamore Dew because I remember having it at your house. And I was like, I believe I liked that, and I do.
Good. I'm glad that I could enrich your life.
Thank you for that.
I think I have Midnight Moon.
Midnight Moon. I have never heard of this.
It's moonshine.
Okay.
And it tastes like apples. They have several flavors. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Son of a bitch, it's great to be back.
Right? So you were on vacation. You missed like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Down there in Haiti or something.
Sedona. I mean, close, but Sedona, Arizona.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
We're glad you're back. We've got a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So you guys get ready. It's going to be back to back to back to back to back Wednesday Night Gentlemen.
I'm excited.
Okay. Well, you should be excited because we're talking about some dorky shit today.
Sweet.
We have 2 bits of media that we'll be reviewing. First is going to be John Wick Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. And then the Fox X-Men related show, Legion.
Yes.
So first we're going to jump straight into John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick Chapter 2 is the sequel, of course, to the 2014 movie John Wick. It stars Keanu Reeves, who plays the titular character, and some other people. John Wick is a super good assassin. He's like the Kaiser Sose of his own world, except that he's a little bit less mythical, etc. He kills everybody for little to no reason. Mostly emotional validation, I guess. Until like a week or two ago, I hadn't seen the original John Wick.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So I watched that as a bit of research for this movie.
Good thinking.
And then I watched this movie. And I think that, and would you agree with this, that it definitely helps to have watched the first movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, I think this guy would probably just catch you as a complete psychopath.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Instead of, well, mostly a psychopath, but
yeah. I mean, this sequel, this movie starts. It's like 10 minutes after the first movie ends. It feels like. So yeah, I didn't think about it from that perspective, but I would imagine you'd be at least somewhat lost if you hadn't seen the first movie.
I think you would be, well,
I mean, it's an action movie, so
it's not real heavy on plot.
Yeah.
So I think once you get the point that John Wick wants something from someone else,
right,
and he feels betrayed, that's it. You know, whatever, good enough.
Yeah,
go with it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like watching the second one without knowing what happened in the first one. It seems like you'd be just like, I don't know. It's like watching a movie with one eye closed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. From especially with all of the Assassin's Guild shit, all of that stuff. I mean, all of that's out of absolutely no. I would think all of that would feel out of just nowhere.
And it's largely out of nowhere, even if you had watched
it. It is.
But you did get a little bit more of a sense. You'd be prepared.
Yeah.
You'd be prepared for the oddity.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do this in two parts as usual. We're going to talk first about John Wick in the non-spoilery sort of way, and then we can kind of go a little bit deeper into it. Legion we're only talking about the first episode, so
yeah.
Be prepared. We're probably going to talk about everything that happens in the first episode. So spoilers from here on out. Well, not from here on out. First, give us your general thoughts on John Wick Chapter 2.
I mean, I dig this movie quite a bit. I like the gunfights. The gunfights are a lot of fun. I like that this feels like an action movie that takes its stunt choreography and its action scenes seriously, and puts a lot of work into designing those things. So that's much appreciated. And I enjoy the sort of mythic aspect of John Wick as a character, and the kind of ridiculous, fantastical elements of the Assassin's Guild. I think all of that just works really well in this movie, in both of these movies. Those are the things I probably respond to the most, I'd say.
Okay, I can say in the first movie I liked the idea of the Assassin Guild, and I kind of liked the boogeyman aspect of John Wick. I do feel like this movie took that a little bit too far. Like there are simply too many assassins.
There are. So yeah, a good 40% of the population of Manhattan, I would say, at least.
You gotta figure, man, 40%. I think the population of the Manhattan area is over 10. You got 4 million assassins.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I think he kills about 3 million of them, I think, in this movie. So,
I was gonna move into that, but I do appreciate the just sort of, I dare you to complain about body count.
Yeah.
Of this movie.
Yeah.
There are an obscene number
ridiculous
of on-screen deaths.
Just ridiculous.
It's that said, I wasn't so much a fan of all the digital squibs. We've talked about digital squibs before.
Yeah.
It looks real cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to see that many people shot in the head, though.
True.
Particularly at the ranges that the camera was at.
True.
Because that could get... you're taking all the glory out of my violence.
Yeah, at a certain point, it is a turnoff. Kind of like Expendables 2, you know? There's a line, and sometimes it's hard to see, but
or
you
Sabotage.
know when you crossed it. Like,
wasn't it Sabotage with
Sabotage 2. Yeah, absolutely.
It got a little too dark.
A little
too grisly.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, it's interesting. I think the world building got a little bit out of control in this one.
Yeah.
And I want to say that as much action as there was, I didn't find that there was a high degree of variety in the choreography. Like, John Wick has like 4 moves, and he knows these 4 moves, and he does them.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah.
You just get to see him because he kills I think the official numbers in the 170 area.
Is it seriously?
Yes.
It feels like it.
He kills a lot of people, and you basically get to see them one after another after another.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not. This isn't Indiana Jones where they shoot the tank gun and 15 guys bump the total up real quick. Right. I mean, he's shooting every one of these people individually in the head.
It's very personal.
So, I mean, if you're not a fan of that kind of violence, definitely don't see this movie.
Yeah.
But
no, I think that's a fair point.
I have a lot of respect for Keanu Reeves because if you see him actually handle a firearm, he went through a lot of stuff to actually learn how to shoot, learn how to move. And there's it's strange to say this because it is such a fantastic movie in terms of it is not realistic.
Yeah.
He goes through all of these incredible lengths to kind of learn how you would actually do it. And he inserts it into a movie that has clearly nothing to do with reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great, I guess, sort of testament to his devotion to the craft. He still can't act.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not any worse than a early 80s Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. He's not worse than Frank Stallone.
No, he's not worse than Frank Stallone.
Who is an actual person, but Sylvester Stallone, what a frustrating individual he is. But when he is not trying or not being directed correctly, he is a man who is being recorded by a camera.
Yeah.
And it is just awkward.
Yeah. Bad. His performances are random. I've always liked Keanu Reeves well enough. I mean, certainly he's not the most compelling person in the history of actors, but I like him well enough, and he plays this role pretty much exactly as it should be played. But I want to talk about your earlier point about the choreography, because I feel like it's pretty fair. In that, it doesn't exactly feel like this in the movie, and I still really like it, even though this sounds like a criticism, but there is a certain repetitive quality, to a lot of the action sequences.
I grab the guy by the wrist, I hit him in the junk, or I hit him in the face, or I hit him in the face and then I hit him in the junk.
Yeah. Or shot to the body, shot to the head, or especially walking down corridors and stuff. I take out 3 guys, have just enough time to reload before 3 more people come around the corner, and I can take each one of them out. I mean, that happens a lot in this movie. The timing of the reloads, and the timing of bullet, then a fist fight, an extended fist fight. With enough time to put that down, holy shit, enough time to put that guy down, and then take out, 4 more people, with more bullets coming around the corner. There is kind of the sort of rhythm and the pacing of it. I think there is a certain repetitive quality to it. I still totally fucking love it. But I agree in that respect.
Well, I think for me, if I had half of the volume of it, it would be twice as effective.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I can't argue against that.
I think at that point you're pushing an hour and 20-minute movie, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
There. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we give our kind of 1 to 5 Netflix scale?
No.
Or 0 to 5. No. I guess it's 1 to 5. We've never given anything 0 stars.
That's true.
We're not going to give John Wick 0 stars.
No, we're not.
So you have nothing else to add?
No.
All right, Midget Radio. What is it? 1 to 5 Netflix scale.
I'm gonna go with a 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually didn't really get into John Wick 1, and John Wick 2 didn't bother me as much, which is weird.
Really,
but
yeah.
I think it's just that I knew what I was getting into.
Okay.
So I wasn't like sort of disappointed. I mean, John Wick 1 is interesting because like it was sold to me as somebody kills John's dog and he goes crazy and kills everybody.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's just silly and ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, it's got to be tongue in cheek, but it's not. It is actually really sad when the dog dies.
It is.
John Wick 2 didn't bother me as much. I'd probably still give it 2.5. Honestly, I can't say that I really liked the movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. It was just kind of, it was kind of there.
Okay.
So spoilers. Here we go. Spoilers.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that a little bit more with you. The sort of the seriousness of the tone of certainly the first one, you know, and the second one as well. Is that, I mean, do you feel like in some sense that detracted from the movie, or did it bother you at all?
I mean, like it didn't bother me because like when we look at like comic book movies, I love most of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And most of the Marvel movies are bright, colorful, and fun. But like we've already done the top 10. You know that I have a crazy thing for the super dark and brooding and ultimately crushingly depressing storyline of The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So I can live in both places, and I can, like, if I were to really think about it, I could probably come up with some pretty dour action movies that I like. Equilibrium, I think is a pretty great. Some people call it a Matrix ripoff, but I think that's a little bit too reductive.
Well, it's your Christian Bale man love too. I mean, that's certainly an element.
I mean, he's good. The guy is good at what he does. Didn't save Terminator, but whatever.
That's true. God damn, that's true.
What a waste. Anyway, so I don't think it's specifically that. I can't think of a ton of movies. I think The Rock probably strikes a very even tone.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say I think Nicolas Cage certainly, and the relationship that he has with Sean Connery in that movie kind of offsets some of the sour notes of that. I
think you could argue the Terminator is pretty straight, even though it is a colorful movie.
Yeah.
Because like it's got some pretty ominous music, and it's tough, and they don't play around with how funny the human apocalypse is.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, like, I don't think that's bad. I certainly understand where a little bit of levity is helpful, because if the other movies that I'm thinking of, which are like Demolition Man or Die Hard, like they have a palpable sense of humor.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So it can be done either way. It didn't really detract for me. That you asked, do you think that that's likely to detract from a lot of people?
I don't know. I had heard it as a bit of a criticism. It's actually one of the things that I love about both of these movies. I like how just ridiculously serious it takes itself as a film, and that the sort of emotional weight of the story is treated with such in such like epic proportions. I kind of like it just because it is so clearly absurd on its face. I like the juxtaposition of this almost like soap opera level melodrama that's covering a story that's about a dead dog with a kind of with an assassin's guild that does all of its transactions via gold coins, and has this whole complex network of weapons suppliers and hotels where they where no business can be conducted. I mean, I like that they kind of they took these kind of absurd elements and just doubled down on the melodrama. It's something that I just sort of enjoy that approach. I like it. That to me is just fun in itself. That there are no jokes almost is itself kind of a point of levity. I guess ironically.
Are there any jokes? This may be the most jokeless movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's actually not that much dialogue.
There's not. I would say actually, so when I saw it in theaters, the one time there was laughter was in the second movie, in the intro, when he's getting his car back, and it focuses on that character actor who's just been in every movie and is always a villain. But the camera's just on his face as he's listening to all of the screams and bullets coming from outside his door. That was really the only part of the movie that felt like maybe there's a little bit of a joke here. And certainly there was some laughter, but that's it. That's it.
I don't think that was intentional.
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, okay, that didn't happen in the theater I was in.
Okay.
It was just 2 hours, guns.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked a little bit about the world building. This is probably actually the part that kind of progressively takes me more and more out of the film.
Okay.
Particularly like the closing sequence where they're trying to kind of imply that there might be a chapter 3. And I think there will be.
Yeah, there probably will be. Yeah.
There's just too many assassins.
I know. It's ridiculous. I know.
And that some of these people might have henchmen is believable, but I don't like everybody.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly gonna keep following it down this path, but there is a point where I kind of start to wonder, like, are we kind of breaking now the bounds of that sort of suspension of disbelief? Because holy shit, there's a shitload of fucking assassins. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think it was specifically the scene with Ian McShane, who, I mean, I will pay just to watch him.
Oh, hell yeah. I wish he had more to do in these movies, but yeah. So
they're in the plaza. He snaps his fingers and everyone stops and looks over at them. And you're like, oh, this is a little overdone.
This is a little ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to tell me Ian McShane's going to be your next bad guy, I couldn't think of a better person to be a bad guy, but you're going to have to give him 4 times as many lines. You're going to have to give him a 2 to 5 minute monologue.
Please. Yeah.
After which most of the audience ought to feel that John Wick is wrong for doing what he's doing because it will be so powerful and he's just so good.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he's amazing.
So I mean,
yeah, I know, like, I started thinking about it with Lawrence Fishburne's character a little bit, because, like, all right, so he has a network of homeless people, apparently that I guess are transacting some business and mostly apparently just sort of keeping their eyes on things. But his carrier pigeon thing, I don't know why, but that kind of got to me, because I was like, who's he sending these messages to? Everybody has a cell phone. All of his fucking crew has a cell phone. And there's a part of me that's like, this seems like we should just have a guy with carrier pigeons. But we didn't really think about why he would need what this network is even designed to do.
Well, he was taking chips out of the pigeons and setting and like chips out of cell phones and then attaching them to pigeons and setting them up.
Oh, is that what he was doing? Fuck, I missed that. Okay. Well, that's better.
No, I don't know what that's going to do without a power supply or any programming, but
that's better at least.
I mean, like, this movie gives me a strange, like, Underworld feeling.
Yeah.
Like Kate Beckinsale Underworld, but Keanu Reeves is not that attractive.
That's true. Try as much as he does.
But maybe.
I mean, got the long hair.
And it's not all bad, but it's not. I mean, this is not going in my list of things to buy as soon as it comes out. It's not going in my top 50 favorite action movies.
No.
Maybe 50.
Yeah, no,
I think I might end up scrounging pretty deep by 50. But do you think that it's strange? Because we lament a lot of the times kind of the downfall of action movies. And I think it would be interesting if we actually took the time. Wow, this is kind of like calling out our own laziness. But if we took the time to like look year by year at the number of action films that are coming out. And I think we can kind of judge their popularity by how much money they make. And I think that will probably be a little bit deceptive because I think we'll have to include Fast and Furious.
And I can't just as a matter of principle, but
but the other thing that this reminded me of was Taken.
Yeah.
And the reason why is in both cases you have like people who are too old to be doing this.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking into, and it's not so much breaking into for Keanu Reeves because he was of course Neo and other things.
Speed. Yeah.
I guess.
Point Break. Kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
But he'd certainly not been a major player since the end of The Matrix.
Yeah.
And that's been a while at this point, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Taken. You got an old guy trying to get his daughter back again and again and again.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's strange that we have these kind of retirement age people?
Yes.
Beating the shit out of everything.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, I don't mind it. In the sense, especially that these are all people that I generally like, but the fact that that it's such a fucking desert when it comes to, you know, people in their 20s or even 30s action heroes, that sucks. It's depressing. I don't know where the young guys are. They seem to be making, well, they don't seem to be very good actors, and they're making movies like Kickboxer Vengeance, I guess. But
I think the thing is that, like, I don't know how old Arnold was specifically when he really broke big into the movie scene. I'm gonna guess he was in his late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if there's a guy in his early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, but Keanu Reeves is 52.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is like 90.
Yeah, at least.
104.
Yeah.
He's an older guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think we do see some people come up, and I think the most likely place that they're going to come from is actually professional wrestling, because we saw it with The Rock
for one move. Yeah.
but when you saw The Rock take the screen, you're like, you are a guy with at least enough acting talent.
Yeah.
And you are a guy with genuine on-screen charisma.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his ball to take and run with it. And instead he decided to play a hockey player who was the Tooth Fairy.
I know.
And you're like, what?
I know. I know. It's so frustrating. It's so goddamn it. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't go from Conan the Barbarian to fucking Junior or Twins right away.
Or Kindergarten Cop. Yeah.
It's infuriating. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the Holy Grail is some fucking kind of halfway compelling screen presence, and a legit, some sort of legit background as an athlete, in wrestling or weightlifting or whatever, MMA, Gina Carano, but
Gina Carano. Yes, we had to get that in there. But
Every time.
I mean, like the next most impressive person that I've seen is actually Batista.
Yeah,
And I don't know that he has kind of the presence or I don't know. I think he looks too easily typecast as the muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
And so I mean he looks like a big dude.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, but even as Tong Po in Kickboxer Vengeance, I mean, he was probably the most compelling person in that entire fucking movie, aside, of course,
and
from
then
Jean-Claude Van Damme. But
he was the guy, and he was, I don't remember his name. I don't know if he was even named, but he was also the muscle in Spectre.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and, and like he's perfectly built to play the muscle.
Yeah,
and relatively expensive muscle, I imagine.
I would assume. Yeah,
but like if I had to like rank it after The Rock, which I think The Rock he's just sitting there staring at this trophy that he can just pick up at any time. Like, no, I don't want it.
Yep.
I think Batista is your next best chance for the traditional old school, and like Batista's in his 40s, I think.
Yeah.
But the traditional old school tough guy.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger type. To a certain degree, Sylvester Stallone. He was never like super huge, but he was certainly in shape.
Yeah. He looks more fucking ripped now than he ever has, but yeah.
Well, that's because he's like juicing crazy style,
it's
right?
It's because he's got the right diet now, and he's hitting the gym.
90% steroids and 20% fat.
He's making the right decisions.
He is 110% putting in that effort. I don't know. I just think it's a weird phenomenon. And part of it's like, what do you think? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I don't know if it's these guys who just kind of remember that action movies used to be awesome or what exactly, but I don't know. I don't really get it.
Oh, yeah, I think that's probably true for people like Keanu Reeves. I don't know where Liam Neeson gets off.
Yeah, I don't know either. He must have, maybe he was just kind of watching it from a distance and always wanted to be a part of it and just kind of worked out. But yeah, I don't know.
It's like on-screen LARPing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I don't think I actually have any additional. I had a couple of things written down here about the fight scenes, but I think we kind of hit that already.
Yeah.
I think he's got the 4 moves.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he does them.
I like
him. He does them again and again and again.
Yeah. Awesome. Is this subject over?
I don't believe that car would have continued to drive.
I don't believe that either. But it is John Wick's car, so it may have just been extraordinarily well built.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with subject over.
Okay.
Legion. All right. Legion is a show about David Haller, the illegitimate son of Dr. Charles Xavier, and some other person who has little to no importance in the Marvel universe. Well, you're going to interrupt me?
No.
You're going to tell me that Gabrielle Haller is a key player ever?
She's in the comics.
Yeah.
A couple issues. I don't know.
3 or 4, whatever. I think his first appearance was in 1982 or something like that.
That sounds about right.
And I think she is in almost nothing.
Yeah, that's probably about true.
Less than 1 panel per year.
Yeah.
Like his father, Legion has a lot of mind powers. He's also cripplingly insane. So this show more or less follows that theme. Not specifically all that close to the comic book, but is that a good or a bad thing? Midget Radio.
Yeah.
Is it a good or bad thing that that this isn't more like the comic book?
I don't know. I don't really think that I don't really think that question matters all that much, honestly. If it's a good show, it's a good show. And if it's shit, it's shit. But
Is this a good show?
I would say yes. Yeah, I like this show. Now, my X-Men fandom notwithstanding, I still feel like this is a good show for reasons independent of my love of X-Men. Now, I don't know if I could say that I would continue like watching the show if I didn't love the X-Men. I don't know for sure, but I would say that still, though, it's certainly a solid piece of television and an extremely unique piece of television.
Why do you think that it is good independent of its X origins?
What I really like, one, they're managing, I think, to establish some fairly like interesting and some at least seemingly pretty well-rounded characters from the first episode, specifically David and his girlfriend. I like that relationship a lot. And they're managing, I think, to string together a more or less coherent narrative in a largely psychedelic manner. I'm pretty impressed with. As crazy as the show is, it's still relatively easy to follow. Sort of the main thrust of the plot, which I think is a tough thing to do. I think there's a temptation to kind of go way too far into the trippy and the crazy and the visually interesting, and to kind of ignore the storyline in favor of that. If you look at a movie like The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, I think that's a movie that wanted to go much further into the visual sort of elements. It was much more interested in that than it was with telling a story. And I think Legion,
I own that movie,
and it's a gorgeous movie, but but I think Legion is striking a pretty reasonable balance between the two. And it's doing the job that I think is probably the most important job in any piece of any television show, and for most movies, and that's, creating characters who are at least, pretty mildly interesting, and casting them well, I think.
Okay. So like I watched this and by the end of it and this is just the first show, so it could change. But by the end of the first show, things are happening and I am just like, are they really?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
What part of this show should I take seriously? Because I think I don't know if audiences are going to have the patience to be able to watch week after week and then to kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like modern news watching. You have to read the same article from 2 or 3 different sources, and then you triangulate what actually happened. So like that's probably an interesting intellectual exercise for some people, but I don't know. Is this going to be a little bit too weird for everyone? Yeah,
I think that's a good question. I think that's a very fair question. Because same here, and this certainly comes from the stuff that I've read of Legion in the comics. I've watched the first and second episode, and I'm not at all convinced that we've seen anything that's like actually happening. There's still a part of me that's like, this could all 100% still be in Legion's head.
Well, it'll be a great way to retcon out things that people don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Season finale was a total letdown when they.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question because as I'm watching the show, and for me now only 2 episodes in, if it's all just in his head, then that feels like maybe that might feel a little bit cheap, and a little annoying. But I mean, I'm 2 episodes in and I'm still interested. So I'm starting to ask the question, does it matter at the end of the day whether all of this is in his head or not? Because I think even if the answer was yes, I'd still be interested in this show. I still like it because I like the world that's being set up, and again, I like the characters.
Well, I think we've established that you like the world.
Yeah. Well, this world that's being built in Legion is like it. I mean, it definitely has similarities to the X universe, but it's very much its own thing.
Did I miss something, or is this set in the early 80s?
So I feel like maybe it's more like the 60s a little bit.
You think so?
It kind of feels like it just from like the way his sister dresses, and some of the like, I don't know, just some of the kind of technology that is used, like what the doctor's office looks like.
I haven't seen a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Which is part of the issue, but I couldn't help but think while I was watching this, and this is off topic, that the soundtrack to this is basically interchangeable with the soundtrack for Stranger Things.
To a degree, yeah. I think, yeah, they're doing
heavy synth. Boop, boop,
yeah,
boop,
definitely.
Boop, 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 boop,
definitely. There's some reinterpretations here and there of I think the second episode opens with a Talking Heads song, so the 80s would make sense. But the way his sister dresses is a little, oh.
You don't know?
It doesn't seem like the 80s. I don't know. I don't really care that much. At least not at this point.
Yeah. I found the storytelling to be very disjointed.
It certainly is.
And I can pinpoint exactly when it happened. He's sitting in the swimming pool and there's high voltage power lines running through the swimming pool. And I was like, there's no fucking way this is real. Maybe, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems that they went with it.
Yeah, I don't know. But I kind of love that. And I love how ridiculous that is. Like, I love how insane it is that in order to interview this guy, we would just put him in the middle of a swimming pool and line it with electrical wire. That's awesome. I love the ridiculousness of that. And there's a lot of that in this show.
I agree that there's a lot of that in that show. Well, I don't know how I want to do this. Why don't we like rate where we're at? Do you want to rate where we're at?
Yeah, okay. God. I don't know. I'm probably at a 4 right now, I guess, but it's just cuz like I'm really interested to see where it goes. I think this first season, I think it's only supposed to be like 8 episodes long, which feels like about the right number. Given,
do you think that's a test?
Probably to a certain degree it is. And I know that there's a lot of shows that are kind of like that. They do these weird like 6 to 8 episode first seasons. I think Breaking Bad did the same thing. It's like 6 episodes long. But that feels like about the right number for a show like this. So I'm actually kind of encouraged by that number. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to say a 4 right now, just because it's so unique and I'm interested in it. And I like the people in it. I like David Haller and I like his girlfriend and I like their relationship. And I'd say that's probably the most important thing about the show right now.
I like Aubrey Plaza's in this show.
Yeah, I like her too. Yeah, and I like her in this show.
I'm gonna give it 2.5.
All right,
2.5. Didn't like it. Didn't hate it. 2.5. So do you think? So most of what I've been complaining about is regardless of whether or not this is a good movie or a good TV show, I said movie because I started thinking of other things that are generally not as well appreciated as I'd like them to be, like Dread or Children of Men.
Okay.
Seriously, you saw Children of Men, right?
Yeah, I like Children of Men. I'm not a big fan of the plot line of that movie, but yeah, I like it. See, I don't know. It might be just our different perspectives, because I feel like Children of Men is loved over much. I think it's a great movie, but I think the hype surrounding it and some of the praise around it is unreasonable.
So I haven't seen any of that.
So that might be part of it. That might be part of it.
But like usually when people see that I have 2 copies of it, they're like, "What the hell is this?"
We are on the exact same page with Dread, for sure. That movie is underappreciated, clearly.
I think it's probably like the minute and 40-second uninterrupted cut in the middle of a battle, which is just blowing my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. That's awesome. I just can't say that makes the movie altogether. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's a good movie. It's fine. It's a good movie. I like it. And that sequence is awesome.
So regardless of how Dread or Children of Men like this is, do you think that people will watch it and it will last?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. The numbers are okay. I guess like there was a report that the initial ratings were meh, but then the ratings +3 or whatever, day 3 plus. I don't know how they fucking measure this stuff, but anyway, I think it was doing a lot better. It's hard to tell, honestly, anymore with cable television, because there are so many avenues for these niche shows. There's a lot of homes for these places, for this type of television, I guess. So in a way, I guess I'd be surprised if it didn't generate enough of an audience to sustain itself, just based on so many other shows that do find an audience. But I have no idea. It's very unique. I certainly haven't seen anything like it on television before. So I definitely appreciate it at the very least in that sense. And I hope most other people would too.
How many X-Men references did you catch?
Very few. Very few. Though there was some speculation that green monster devil that he sees could be Mojo, which I doubt enormously. But
I would, if I were Fox controlling the movie rights, I would not want them using Mojo, because I want to make my 2020 release X-Men Mojoverse.
Oh, please, that would be glorious. But
it's like, who's gonna play Shatterstar? Oh man,
yeah, that's an important part. Shatterstar. You need Longshot. You need Spiral. So exciting. Right? Yeah. So either Mojo or potentially the Shadow King, which, I mean, not that it matters, but in the comics, Legion has basically zero fucking relationship, I would say, with probably both of those characters. But
the only time I really caught anything is when he thinks he sees the bald guy and he's like, "Oh, wait," and then he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking crazy."
Yeah. Well, the second episode, you kind of see a little bit more of his home life, potentially, I guess, as he was growing up. And there is a father figure, though he is cloaked in shadow. It doesn't exactly look like Xavier, but I don't know. I don't really know exactly what the show is doing, or really, I don't know how much the creators really care to involve a lot of X-Men history. I would always like more, but I'd rather they make the show they want to make, as long as it's a good show.
I think it would kind of make sense that they didn't pull in a lot of that.
Yeah,
I was actually expecting there to be more. And I'm actually a little bit pleased that they that they didn't.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really easy.
Yeah. Fox seems to have kind of a weird relation. Like, I'm not sure how seriously or how concerned, I guess, they really are with any kind of sort of cinematic or at all coherent
any
universe.
Continuity?
Because they don't seem to really give a shit whether Deadpool takes place after the events of X-Men Apocalypse or whatever. I don't know how much it matters to them. And in a sense, I kind of feel like that's a good thing, or at least it seems to be proving to be a good thing. When they decide to kind of eschew the continuity a little bit.
I think we'll be having this conversation again around Wolverine.
I think so too.
I think you're going to be right, and I think they're going to basically be like, "Well, this exists in the future. Whatever. Fuck you. Who cares?"
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that.
It's not the worst way to do it because, particularly talking to people who maybe don't like Civil War. There's a lot of stuff leading up to Civil War, and that each thing that you watch that leads up to it is a little bit more of a reason why you like it, or a little bit more of a reason why you won't. And it's hard to. Sometimes if you're building those big giant sandcastles, it's hard to really see or direct people towards, where you want them to be.
Yeah.
And ensure that they're going to follow you there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's weird. I guess it's kind of a strength and a weakness at the same time. 'Cause like, I don't really give a shit about Ant-Man. I don't really care about that movie. I don't really like, I think it's an okay movie and that's about it. I have no desire to ever see it again though. But does Civil War make Ant-Man more of an interesting movie? It kind of does. It kind of does a little bit. But that's a little, that feels a little cheap to me. And had I only watched Ant-Man, and that was my entire experience of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I certainly wouldn't give a shit to see Civil War, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, see, I wonder how much of that is like purposeful and how much of it is sort of repairing the damage that was done with some of the movies that weren't quite so good. And I'm not speaking specifically of Ant-Man. I'm thinking more along the lines of, like the weakest ones are like Thor 2, which doesn't really factor in.
Yeah.
Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
No.
To a certain degree, even Captain America 2 has a baffling ending.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And the larger universe, I think, kind of helps mitigate that a little bit. But yeah, I hate the ending of that movie. But
yeah, I get it.
And Age of Ultron, man, I don't know, that's the movie that probably pisses me off the most. I wouldn't say that it's the worst movie that Marvel has made, but it's probably the one that pisses me off the most.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue about everything. Do you have anything else you want to add about Legion?
The X-Men are awesome.
Oh, what thoughtful insights from Midget Radio.
If you love the X-Men, you have to watch Legion. It is your duty.
Well, I see that some people are already starting a petition to get you replaced by Blue Sky Giant.
What?
True story.
I don't see that anywhere.
It's only because you're the cause of all of our problems.
Ridiculous. I don't know what problems there even are.
Fantastic. Well, I think that has been episode number 14 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen, the Multimedia Empire official podcast. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you've enjoyed our banter. Visit us on Facebook, give us a like there, and we will see you on episode number 15 of Wednesday Night Gentlemen. Is that going to be next week?
I guess so.
We'll come up with something to talk about. I'll watch The Expanse or some nonsense.
Okay, that's a good idea.
All right. Well, it's been good. Say bye. Or don't.
Bye-bye.
Great show.
Great show.